Right, moving on, I'm going to cover the belt. I'll just show you the pose. Again, he's just doing a leap as if he just jumped off the black section at the back. Again, using the new Goblin stand. It's pretty much fucking perfect stand to use this if you want to do a pose, because the base is big enough that you can put some kind of something on to support his feet if you wanted to use the stand or whatever. And also, I like the fact that the clamp is black, so if you took it under his armpits or really around his waist, it doesn't really focus in. So yeah, pretty much like I say, a leaping pose. Use these poses if you want, brothers. You might not like them, that's up to you. But anyway, going on to the belt. Again, the belt come, it really cheap looking. Anybody who's got the Marvel Studios figure will know. The paint were a little bit hit and miss, to say the least. But because there are the buckle wear, it were easy to get on and off. So obviously I took it off. I washed it again with the crimson acrylic paint, and then I sort of get it a black wash to get some depth again. Not so much on this because it were all pretty much, I wanted it to stand off the suit, if that makes sense. Now if you look at the suit, I will go into detail. Look at the suit, there's a lot of colours moving through that suit, and I've tried to use the paintwork to show definition through his body. I don't know if you're going to pick that up very clearly. I'll cover it more in a bit. So I wanted the belt to stay a really flat looking red, so it stood away from it, because there's not much detail in the suit. So I thought I wanted the belt to catch your eye, sort of thing. Now, like I said, the metallic silver I bought, I actually, like I say again, just stirred a little bit of it up, dipped a cocktail stick into it, and then dotted the stud section and did the buckles. Brought them really out, and like I say, compared to how it originally looked, it's let's see if we can get it turned around. Ooh. Again, around the back. See the studs around the back and the detail. Should have turned it away. I will explain the fastenings on back and everything. I'm trying to do this one-handed. It's not fucking easy. Come here, you bitch. Again, around that side, the detail, as you can see, holds his nunchucks in place. I did repaint all that, and obviously the pouch the nunchucks are in. So yeah, so also, while we're in this position, I will show the gloves. They are the Captain America gloves. Obviously, if I show you that, they were brown with like a really nice, I would think it's like a spray paint job on them. These ones, when they came, obviously they were brown. I bought the gauntlet, the hand to hold things, and then the open hand like that. They did come with the brown leather inlay, but I haven't used it at the moment for whatever reason, probably because I haven't painted it yet. And then I washed over it, like I said, with the crimson. Washed it with the crimson, and then I went back and I put some depth in it. So if you look sort of there, you can see the sunk down bit is still holding the black wash. I went over that, and then I used the silver to do the clasp sort of up here, this clasp, and then the smaller thing and the press stud, same on that side. Brought it really out, because like I said, it's pretty much a flat red crimson suit, so anywhere that there could be highlights, like I say, on the boots or the belt or the gloves, I've really tried to bring them out. Same with the DD on there. I'll explain how I did that when I cover the suit. So yeah, that's the belt and gloves. Like I said, all repainted. The gloves are the Captain America from Hot Toys, and the belt were off the Marvel Studios figure. I will put a link to all the bits I bought, so if you do want to go and buy any of these parts, there'll be links below to show you straight to them. I'll repose the figure, and then we'll talk about the head sculpt. Right guys, rolling on to what I did with the head. Just show you the pose again. Just going straight up and down, that's basically so that nothing hinders me getting the camera in close to his face. I just said, like I said earlier, before I did this, I've never done any acrylic painting, even on paper or anything. Never done any sculpting, never done no needlework, other than what I did at school, which is a fucking long time ago. And the customizing work I'd done were pretty much just buying things on eBay and putting them onto figures. So the first sculpting work I ever did was on this head, which is what I showed at the end of the Black Suit Spider-Man review. Now, it was an head I got laying around. It's obviously the African-American one off the body that I bought for the zombie version of Michael Jackson, the Thriller one. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to buy some Sculpty. I spoke to Dean Knight, who'd use Sculpty on his Bruce Wayne head to do a custom of the Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. He told me what to use. I bought some sculpting tools, and I thought, fuck it, let's crack on. It don't matter if I ruin this head, I'll just see what I can do. Anyway, I started doing it, and to be honest, not only was it therapeutic, and I found that it was pretty easy to do, I started looking at designs on the internet, looking for what head sculpt I want, because the Daredevil head sculpt from the film is pretty much just a scarf right around his head. The one in the comics is just a pretty much flat mask to his face, and I thought, I don't want that. So what I looked at is I think it's a Sideshow 1-to-1 bust that's available, and that showed the pattern of the mask, whereas it has like sort of top section of the cowl that's stitched on, so you can see I put the stitching marks on, and then just flat sections on the side. Obviously it's that tight it clings to his ears and obviously his jawline. So that's the look I went for, and then it pretty much just, if you put it on HD you might pick this up pretty clear, just pretty much like putting the scowl on his face. I didn't want to do it too mean looking, and then pretty much just show some wrinkles, put the horns on last, put the stretch marks again around the ears, and so on. So that's like just a really rough version of what my idea was to do. Obviously that's not painted. I bought the sculpted clay in crimson, so that is how it were. What you find is, if you look, the sculpted clay, you can't really tell because obviously it's skin tone anyway. It does stain the skin texture a little bit red, because obviously when you put it on you're sort of moving it about like that, and you do stain the thing. But it weren't a problem for what I'd got in mind anyway, so I'll just move on. So that was the first sculpting I've ever done. I took it to work, asked my friends, they were like, fucking hell, you're pretty natural. And I thought, well, I'm happy with it, but I don't want to start fucking banging on about how good a job I've done, because I thought when I do it for real, it might turn out shit. So moving up, like I said, that was the first attempt, and then I moved on to this one. Now that originally is the Jason Statham head play head, which is an awesome head actually. I didn't realise it was as good as it turned out to be, but what I did know is the structure of the chin, the cheekbones, the nose, I just thought it's going to be fucking accurate for what I need. So what I did, I moved it on, I spent a bit more time on it, and sculpted the mask pretty similar, but I took the stitching out from under the eyes. I still did the stitching all the way around the mask. I will turn it around in a minute when I've said everything I want to say. I want to get it close because I want you to see what I've done with it. So yeah, I sculpted it, put the horns on. What I found again, the red clay had stained the cheeks, and obviously with it being now white skin, it did show a lot. So what I did, I mixed the black acrylic down, really watered it down, and just washed it across his face. But what I did, I dragged it sort of with a brush, I dragged it from his cheekbones into his mask. So what happened is it really welled up in the crack of the mask, which makes it look quite natural, I think. And it gives the effect of like a 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing. So I'm really happy with how that turned out, and I'd love to take all credit, but it was more luck than judgment, if I'm honest. Again, once the mask was done, I painted it nearly to black with a black wash, got it really into the cracks of the eyes and the scowl and around the horns, and into the stitching and the grooves in the mask. I will turn it around, like I said. Pushed it up, so from underneath, let me just get a good shot. From underneath again, I brushed the black underneath the mask, so it did give the realistic effect of a mask on top of skin. So the Statham head doesn't actually look like that. It has been repainted slightly, not massively so I don't want to take too much credit, but it has been touched up. Going on to the eyes, like I said, I did paint into the eyes. In fact, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to get better lighting, if I'm honest. Just bear with me 1 second. Oh, that's a bit better. Right. I painted into the crevices. Obviously, that's all sculpted around the eyes and around the eyebrows and everything, and then the crease work just above. Yeah, I'll use this tool. This crease work sort of around here, that's all sculpted. The crease work here, and then round where the horns meet the mask, I sculpted all that. Washed it black, so it sunk into all the crevices, and then I come back with a crimson, mixed the crimson with black, so it were like sort of between the flat crimson colour and darker. Brushed it with that, put some detailing on, turn it around now, just to show light and shade sort of thing. If we look at the behind the ear section, as you can see, it's slightly darker. So if you look at it like that, it does look like he is wearing a mask. The creases where the mask's pulling flat, and then where the stitching goes to, focus you little bastard, where the stitching goes to the thing. And then obviously to bring the colour right up, just a flat crimson, washed over it with a dry brush, the dry brush effect what I was talking about earlier, and that's what I ended up with. Now if you've got a keen eye, you'll realise that there is some metallic in his eyes and also on his horns. So what I did there was I mixed some of the flat crimson with the metallic silver I'd bought, and all I did with a cocktail stick is just basically dip the cocktail stick in, put the thing on his horn, and just pull it to a point like that. So the tip of the horn looks metallic, and then again there from the same angle, and just pulled it up like that. With a cocktail stick, again, just put it on the end, strokes across the eye that way and that way, so it gave it like a pink metallic look. And then what I did is just a fine dot with the silver, and then stroked it down the bridge of the nose, just so there is a focal point on the face. So that's the effect I got. It turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I surprised myself, and like I said, a lot of it I did sort of just going over it and over it and over it, and that is pretty much how I sculpted and painted the head. While it's in this position, again, same thing I did with the D. That was just a flat dark red, and I just basically put layers on, darkened it around the sides, put some metallic silver up the sides of the D, and just brought it out so if you stand away, it still pops out to you. So that is what I did with the head. So stick with me, I'll repose it and show you the suit.